Morning everybody, this is a multiple choice question about the current account of the balance of payments. It says in 2017, Turkey's deficit on the current account of the balance of payments increased to $4.2 billion. And it says this increase in the deficit on the current account is most likely to have resulted from. So what was it that caused this increase in the deficit on the current account? The first thing to remember here is the current account. Think of it as currants, the little black dried fruit that you have. That's how I think about it. And imagine that those currants are being imported to a country or exported from a country. They're flying around, these currants. Okay, so it's about imports and exports. Imports, M, exports, X. That's the shorthand. And it says here that there's a deficit on the current account. So we know that the current account of the balance of payments in general is looking at the value. That's very important. So that is the price times the quantity. So the value of the exports take away the value of the imports. And remember, when you have exports and imports, it's like something's being thrown into a country if it's imported. So like this bottle of wine is imported into the UK. And in return, we have to throw money to the person that we bought it from in the other country. I've put here a pound sign to signify money, but actually, if we imagine in this case that this bottle of wine came from France, we'd actually have to pay for this in euros because we're paying that to the French. So actually, that would be euros. It wouldn't actually be pounds. So remember that the money flows the opposite way to the export or import. So going back to the question, we know that we're talking about the current account, and it says here there's a deficit on the current account. If there's a deficit, that means that we're losing money essentially, and that means that the value of our imports is greater than the value of our exports. And that means that more money is leaving our country. Because remember, every time we import something, like here, we have to throw money out of our country. So if the value of our imports is greater than the value of our exports, more money is leaving our economy. And we want to know, why has there been this increase in the deficit? Why is more and more money leaving our economy? So first one, an increase in the value of imports. It looks as if this is the right answer. Because if the amount that we're importing goes up, that means we're throwing more money out of the country to the country that we bought the import from. So it looks as if this is the right answer, but let's just check the other ones so we're not caught out. An increase in the value of exports. No, if we export something, so let's imagine that the UK is exporting Marmite. Marmite is a very British product. You spread it on toast and it's made in the UK. Let's imagine that we're exporting Marmite to the US. Let's say that they like this export. They will then be throwing money. I'll put a pound sign because they actually will have to pay for this in pounds because we are selling it to them from the UK. But money will be coming into the UK. So here it says an increase in the value of exports. If we have an increase in the value of exports, that means more and more money is coming into the UK. So this will not be the case, more money leaving. So that's wrong. The next one, a decrease in government spending. This is a bit of a red herring. It's a bit unrelated, but if we follow it through, if we have a decrease in government spending, if everything else stays the same, this would cause aggregate demand to go down. If aggregate demand goes down, it's likely that output will go down. And we know that output is linked to incomes. It's equal to incomes in the circular flow. So this would cause incomes to go down. If incomes don't go down, people will actually go shopping less and they will import less. And if we import less, we're not going to see the value of imports being greater than the value of exports. Imports will actually be coming down. So this is wrong. And the last one, a decrease in employment. This is really related to the same thing. If we have less people with a job, a decrease in employment, that means overall incomes are going to go down. People will be doing less shopping and there will be less imports. So actually the value of imports won't be greater than the value of exports. So again, this is wrong. So the right answer here is A.